Yo, we're running a 2-on-1 break. This is a post game for everybody who's watching the game, Sixers fans. Dude, I'm super excited to have Chris Ebon with me today. Chris, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I can't complain. It's Sixers W. Always a great way to start the postseason. And, a little sweat in the beginning, but overall, win's a win. The better team prevailed.
Yeah. So you mentioned something really good. Like a little bit of sweat. It wasn't like what we thought it was be. At least I did. I thought it was gonna be more of a blowout. Especially at the beginning, we kind of jumped up to some of a lead, and I thought we were gonna kind of hang on to it. But not a bad game. Definitely kind of par for the course, so to speak, for a playoff game. There's not a lot of blowouts. There are some, but there's not a lot. Everybody's wanting to be there, and everybody's really glad to be there. But I want to come to you first, and I want to ask you this. So what you saw, I saw a really, really hungry, kind of jolly Bradley Beal. Did you see that too?
Well, the thing with Bradley Beal is he started off a little slow. I mean, he was missing a bunch of jump shots early. Then went to Alex Len early, which was kind of wild. I didn't really expect that to really happen, but they fed him the ball maybe to get Embiid in foul trouble, which actually did kind of work out into their favor. But as far as if Beal went, he went off in the second half. If you look at his box score, he looks like he had a monster game, but that first half was a dud, and he just went crazy the second half.
Yeah, we got some comments coming in here. I don't know if you can pop them up on the screen, Chris.
Yeah, I got you.
So for you guys, man, who are just jumping on, like, again, we're doing our post-game reaction, and I thought it was a dope game. He was so quiet. Bradley Beal was so quiet at the beginning, and then you saw towards the end of the game when the game kind of constricted, he was also very quiet because of Ben Simmons. And Ben, when he wants to play defense, man, he can really make things very, very difficult for whoever he's playing. And I think Bradley Beal caught a little bit of that. I think he kind of laid back and kind of let him do his thing for a little while. And then he said, you know what? It's time to clamp back up again. It's time to constrict the game. And it got real hard for him. So I guess my next question, I'm going to go to you about this one, because I feel like this is something that I saw from my perspective. Did you see the emergence of our bench in this game and how important the bench was?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Tyrese Maxey, everyone talked about him being like a guy that you could see in minutes. He came in late the first half and he scored and won, no problem. He's just a guy that comes off the bench real strong, and I think he's super talented. I want him to be more part of the rotation. Thibault, he ended up being a little slow in the first half defensively, but then picked it up really strong. But overall, the bench came out. Dwight Howard had to answer the call at the end of the day. That was the most important thing, because Embiid got that BS foul trouble, if you will. That was an issue.
Yeah, that was an issue. And some of these comments are here. So we got Adam. What's going on, Adam? Westbrook is crying about all the refs already. Big crybaby. Listen, he is. He's been a big crybaby. And I need to be honest about this whole thing. At the beginning of the year, we kept saying that the bench play was going to be a big part of the Sixers. And we kept saying how deep they could go would matter. If they could go deep enough, they could really make an impact on each and every game. And I think that is not, I think we were spot on with that. Everybody who said it, they're spot on. The bench plays such a huge role in today's game. And we're constructed the way we're constructed. I think today was a prime example of, if things don't go great with Embiid, if he doesn't have a slow start, he's in foul trouble, we can still win using other tools, which Curry played great. Tobias balled out.
Tobias was crazy.
It was crazy. And to think last year, people wanted to trade him. I mean,
it was unreal.
It's crazy.
Absolutely unreal. It was crazy because, like, he has that pull-up jumper, that double, he just does that one dribble pull-up, which is nasty. And I understand he was in a market of getting that money. And I totally understand that. There's a lot of guys getting that money in the league nowadays,
right.
And he's a guy that's producing. If it wasn't for him, we are not winning this game. That's the bottom line. I think that's very important to realize. And with Embiid being with that foul trouble right there, we needed somebody to step up and make those jumpers, and he was that guy.
Yeah. So Al says the refs tried to give them this game and we still won. Yes, there is, like, the BS calls on Joel Embiid, like not really giving us the same, same type foul calls and stuff. It really made a difference. I guess it kept it a good game. But, I just think the Sixers just got too much. They just got too many weapons. When Danny Green started hitting from outside, Curry starts being decisive and really starts shooting the ball without his hesitation. I don't know. I think hesitation is a part of his game. But when he does it before he shoots, it really, really gives me pause for call. I want him to shoot. I want him to feel like I want him to get in the mirror and like before the game, just say, I'm Seth. I am Seth, but Steph is my brother. He's inside of me, and I can do what he does. And I want him to do that. And then the next thing for Andre says Doc's adjustments were masterful. Every timeout and rotation was situational basketball. Yes, that is the difference. That is when you put the Sixers, how they're currently constructed, up against the Sixers of past, even with Jimmy Butler Sixers. Those teams may look similar in the way they're constructed, but the coaching is so much different. And sometimes he let them play when the Wizards were making runs. He let them kind of feel their way through it. But when he needed to pull them back in, he did that as well. So I love that about Doc, man. I'm happy to have him, man. I'm really happy to have him.
You're preaching to the choir at the bottom line. I hated Brett Brown. I didn't feel like there was zero accountability. Like, I know we haven't talked about it much because this is our first go around with it, but I could not stand Brett Brown. He was a guy that just coddled everybody, rocking them left and right. Everything's good. Everything's great. Doc has accountability. And he has a pedigree with it on top of it, which these young guys can really respect at the end of the day. Like, you have a Ben Simmons, like a talent, everyone complains and bitches about his no shooting and everything. But you know what? If he hands down, man down, lockdown defense, then that's no problem. And he's still taken to the rack. Like, I have no problem with that for the most part. You don't need to shoot 18, 20-foot jumpers. He can dribble down, go down the block, back him in, and then make a pass for a 3-rock. So I have no problem with that. It is what it is. He's not going to be that shooter like LeBron is. We thought he was going to be that guy at the end of the day. But you know what? I'm okay with that. Embiid's playing out of his mind, and he had early foul trouble, and he still dropped 30. That is scary for the rest of the league. Yeah,
and that's what I was going to allude to. Even I see Tim Lil is saying I feel a sweep coming. I don't want to. I thought that maybe a gentleman's sweep might be in order, but the way that Bradley Beal is jawing at these guys, I think they're going to take them out very early. I don't think they're going to mess around with them. I think that is going to be. I think next game is going to be a decisive win. And I don't think it's. I think Joel is going to figure out how the refs are going to kind of like treat them, and I think they're going to make adjustments. Like everybody else is saying that Doc is making adjustments. And somebody says, does Ben Simmons' lack of shooting affect them in the playoffs later on? I don't think so, because everybody else is so decisive. Everybody else they're getting the kickouts. He's playing good defense. Thibault is even coming in taking shots. And it wasn't that Ben didn't shoot outside jump shots. He just shot a lot of inside jump shots. He was actually very decisive in the beginning of the game. The first probably 3 or 4 plays, he went directly at them. So I'm not worried about his aggressiveness. I'm not worried about his shooting. If anything, I'm worried about is Joel staying healthy. And every time he gets hit or he falls to the ground, I do one of these because I don't know.
Deep breath.
I don't know how he's going to get up if they're going to try to take him out intentionally. You just never know these days. And so I'm hoping that at the end of the day that he stays aggressive in the beginning. He sets the tone of the game like he did today. And then everybody else just kind of play their role and come in and do what they need to do. But I was surprised about Shake though. Shake didn't play great today, and I was surprised by that because he's killed them in the past. Like the last 3 times they played him. He had
I mean, overall, George Hill was fantastic. He had an amazing game. Maybe that's making up for the ground for Shake, because I think Shake has the talent. But I think the beginning of the first half of the season, he was locked in. He was like making a bunch of jumpers. He had that pull-up jumper where he go into the rack and then like make that little jumper. But then he kind of fell off. It was really strange. I don't know what he was getting into for that most part. But overall, I was really happy with Embiid getting that foul trouble early because he proved he could score 30 points. There's no way I thought he would have scored 30 points right there after being pretty much out the entire first half.
Yeah, that's
legit.
Yes, legit, and it's so bizarre. Like we haven't really seen dominance like this.
No,
from a post player since like Shaq. And I hate saying Shaq because Shaq can't shoot free throws, but I just
more
feel
of a pure dominance guy. Yeah,
like, and then he uses Hakeem, like he puts me in the mind of a young Hakeem, and the dream shake. And every time he gets you on the left or right, he'll move you, and he has no issues getting the ball up, even when all the focus is on him. So now it's making me think that maybe the focus will be on Tobias. That maybe people start cheering on Tobias.
Great.
He's played amazing, man. I have nothing bad to say about Tobias. No. I have nothing bad to say about the whole team, and I'm happy to take the first dub, and it's whatever.
No, and honestly, it's a great win. It was a statement win. This was a game that got a little shaky real fast because of the foul trouble with Embiid. I think that's the most important thing when you think about it. And you know what? Tobias stepped up when needed to. Guess what? If they want to double team Tobias, by all means do it because Embiid will get his. And you know what? Green's going to hit threes eventually, and so will Seth. They got kind of cold in the first half. The second half, the threes were starting to roll a little bit because those threes weren't falling. I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, Seth Green's not hitting these Seth Curry's not hitting these threes. I was kind of a little worried a little bit. But then eventually good shooters are going to get out of the slumps. That's why we got them. And that's another reason why we don't need Ben Simmons to shoot those shots because we have those guys. So overall, great win. I don't care how it got done. Good. The better team will prevail. And that's what happened today.
Yeah. So we got a comment from Oop Original said this was a rusty win. And I kind of don't disagree with that. I don't disagree. I think that they were shaking off a little bit of the cobwebs. I think, Wizards had to play in, so they had been playing, and all those games before that was playoff basketball. So technically this is that's would have been their second or third game in playoff basketball mode. So no, I'm not upset with the way that the outcome happened. I'm actually really glad we got this test early. I'm glad that we're getting these tests against teams that are maybe not as good. And I don't want to. I know this is a post game for the Sixers, but I wanted to kind of throw this out there. I watched the Nets play last night with the three-headed monster.
Yes, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah. With the three-headed monster, and everybody's saying they were going to average 130 points, 140 points. They barely had 100. I think they might have ended at 110 or something with all the fouls at the end of the game. What did you think about the Nets last night?
All right, so for as far as the Nets games goes with the Celtics, the Celtics were dominating for most of the game. Tatum was going off. I know that their main player was, I can't even think. I'm thinking the name off the top of my bat, but he was out for the game. Jaylen Brown was out.
Oh, Jaylen Brown, yeah.
And Jaylen Brown was out, and that was a big part because he's kind of like a glue guy. He can score, play some defense. He does a little bit both. He's like Marcus Smart plays more to the defense and Tatum's more to the offense. So he's like a nice happy medium at the end of the day.
Yep.
So they were dominating that game. I'm like, wow, 8.5 points for the spread. I'm like, this looks so easy. But then at the end of the day, the better team prevailed. Kyrie Irving was just banking every shot constantly. I couldn't believe it. He was just banking every shot. And then we had the whole Durant thing where he took it to the rack and then he ended up falling on his back of his arm. And then he was cool afterwards. But overall, I mean, the team is good. I mean, Griffin was kind of iffy for the most part, but those guys can play. Harris can hit a couple threes for him. But you know what? The better team prevailed. That's the same kind of situation that happened here. That's the NBA we live in. I think that's the most important thing.
So I'm going to hit two of these things. Hit the one above it. So this should be original. He says, I'm not scared at all of Brooklyn. I've always, the whole time, anybody that's been with Heat Ratio the entire time, I've said that this Sixers team resembles the 2000 and I think it's 2005 Celtics team with Doc Rivers had with Rondo and all those guys.
I do agree with that. Yeah.
I think they mostly resemble that team, and I think because of he's had success with teams that look similar to those with the same role players, that he's going to be able to propel these guys. The only problem that I have with Brooklyn is that everybody's saying they're going to score all these points, but we did see that they don't play very much defense. They don't really play defense against anybody, and they're just in a scoring battle. The Celtics are not a high scoring team. They're just not right now. They're missing a major part to their team. I thought Kemba was coming back up, but I think he's kind of stagnated as well. So I think that their scoring is going to be kind of capped off where it was last night, unless Tatum goes for 50 every night, which I don't see that happening.
No.
With KD on them, the fact that they have KD on them is just making things a little bit harder for him. He's got to shoot over a 7-footer every time now. Mm-hmm. So even in the chance that he does beat him, he did one move in the early first half last game. He did a sidestep and he kind of got his shot off and shot in KD's face. That happened one time. The rest of the game, KD was in his face, contested. And KD's a decent defensive player. He's not a defensive player to year.
No, he's got some length.
He's just 7 feet tall. It's hard to shoot over anybody 7 feet tall. I'm gonna be honest with you. So going forward for the rest of the series, the way I see this thing going is I think that they become more comfortable playing with each other. And I think it will get worse for the Celtics before it gets any better. And I don't know. I don't know if it's still a game in Brooklyn. If they do, then we might have a cause for pause because now you got to go back to Boston. That's going to be at very high capacity, like the Sixers are playing with a very high capacity.
Yep.
Which that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think the main thing with Brooklyn is going for the most part, they do a lot of ISO. And like I think that actually plays into the Sixers' hands for the most part because you got Ben Simmons, who's pretty much the defensive player of the year. If you want to play ISO with Ben Simmons, by all means necessary, play with Ben Simmons ISO. I think you can throw Matisse Thybulle in there that can handle himself against maybe like a Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving has the best handle by far in the league that I've ever seen my entire life. He's a little wacky, but the dude has the best handle I think I've ever seen my entire life. Kyrie Irving's got the sickest handle, and he can score too. So you got those two guys right there for the most part. And they're playing ISO. They're not really playing a team basketball perspective like the Sixers are. You got the kickouts and everything with the 3 rocks and everything. So I think Embiid can go down low. You got Ben Simmons that can take it to the rack, and you got Green and Seth Curry at the same time doing it. So I think this is a good combination. I think that's going to hurt Brooklyn at the end of the day.
I do too. I watched that game and it was kind of messy. And it was like I was looking over to the bench, even when they were down and behind. And I was kind of watching Steve Nash's like body language as a coach. Mm-hmm. And he just didn't seem to have a good grip on what was going on. He was kind of like, we're gonna weather this. But like, what if they didn't? Like, but what if they just didn't? Like, what if they just couldn't figure it out? And he's he's kind of playing with house money. I just don't know against a good coach like Doc Rivers, or even I thought Brad Stevens was giving him a little bit of a problem, which he did at the beginning. Scheme wise, they kind of gave him a problem. So Brad Stevens is he's just kind of out there right now. I don't think he can do much. I think he knows he can't do much.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's just trying to make it harder for him. If this game goes to 6 games, I'd be very surprised. I think they get swept after 4, but that's just me. I'm trying not to be cynical, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Believe me, I would love to see a Celtics sweep because I cannot stand the Celtics. I can't stand Brad Stevens. I can't stand the rest of them. Like, I'm all for that sweep. I hope it happens. Just in the back of I think they win 1 game, but then that's about it. I just think at the end of the day, talent prevails, and we're lucky enough being Sixers fans. We have the talent on our sides. We went through the heartache of everything, with the process and everything. This is our time to shine. And you know what? I'll take my chances with anybody at this point.
So I'm going to ask you this, and it's kind of a follow-up question to the talent thing, the talent part you just threw out. Outside of the Sixers and the Nets, do you see anybody else as a real threat? Well,
it's funny because like Milwaukee is a good team, right? So you got Chris Middleton, you got Giannis Kumpo. Like, I mean, they have good talent, but we always matched up well against Milwaukee. Like, we've always had a good, solid matchup against them. Miami kind of scares me a little bit because you got a couple guys that can hit some shots, and Butler's pretty decent. But I think if Ben Simmons guards him, I think we're okay with that. So, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just blinded, but I really feel like the Sixers should go to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to be, like I said, every time I say this,
be biased.
No, I'm biased, but like I get nervous. Like once I start saying, "Oh, finals this or finals or bust," like I get nervous saying that because you're putting a lot of pressure on a team that really has only been together 1 year completely. Like, Joel and Ben have been together, and Tobias has been together an additional year. But the rest of the pieces, they all just got around, including their coach. So, let's see. I think the Heat will end up beating the Bucks. Heat looked good, and I think they can make another deep run. Just to kind of, I'm gonna finish the current conversation.
Do what you gotta do. Yeah,
but I just don't know. Like I don't know. It's hard to say that that will happen, but I know for a fact. I know for a fact that we can get there. It's just I tell everybody, like the playoffs and getting a championship, there's a lot of different things that have to come into play. And it's not just how the team plays, it's like matchups. Like, do we draw? Do we match up New York? Do we get in New York? Is New York hot? Are we going to have to go through a lot of, problem to get rid of New York? Are we going to be tired from playing them? Like everything matters. Like if you go into a 7-game series constantly in a 7-game series with somebody fighting for your life, you might not have energy in the Eastern Conference Finals. You might be burned out. They say in this series, there's about 7 or 8 days between each game. Well, not between each, but all together. There'll be like 7 or 8 off days to wrap it up if it's not a complete sweep. So if the caveat to that is we got to get away early. We got to be out swept and be done so we can be resting or whatever. You don't want to get into no drag outs and long series with these guys. The Eastern Conference is not as good as the Western Conference, but they got some teams that can beat you. And I think a lot of the Knicks, I think the Knicks can legit because they're playing with house money. Nobody expects them to be here. Nobody expects them to do anything. So I think because of that, there'll be a problem if you let them hang around. You have to get rid of the Knicks right away. Same thing with Miami. Get rid of them right away if you're Milwaukee. If you do not, you may be packing your bag, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's what it really comes down to. I know the East is gonna be more of a tougher battle, but you look at the West, like I personally think it's gonna be Sixers and Jazz at the end of the day. I think there's a lot of blood. I think the Jazz are really underrated at the end of the day. Mitchell's been nasty. Gobert, take it for what it is. He's pretty solid. But then you have I can't even think of his name off the top of my head. Bogdanovich, right? Is Bogdanovich? He plays for the Jazz.
Ooh, I think, but yeah, yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, he hits a lot of threes for them. Like that was a great pickup for them. So I think at the end of the day, that team is kind of doubted for a long time. And the LeBron's ankle hasn't been the same ever since. Like his ankle's been messed up constantly. And LeBron's one of the greatest players of all time. Give her, whatever you want to say about him. If you hate him, you love him. The dude's an absolute talent. I mean, I shouldn't have to explain myself too much about LeBron James, but I think Father Time is finally getting to him. Finally, like it's just he's getting banged up. He played a million games like since he's been out of high school, especially for playoffs. Like I don't think anyone's remotely close to playing the amount of games as he's played. So yeah, I think it's finally getting to him a little bit. I know Anthony Davis has been banged up a little bit, and then the Clippers having some issue, and then you got Luka Doncic that's been going wild. I don't know. I feel like this is a great spot for the Sixers, and rightfully so. I mean, they have a veteranship to them. I think that's very important.
That is true. You got Dwight, you have Danny Green. Even Curry's kind of a little bit of a veteran. Like he's not just a rookie or nothing. Like he's been around the league. I wanted to segue this to something really quick because right now I kind of got my eyes on the games that are going on now. So right now the Lakers are playing the Suns and they're down 7 against the Suns. And I've been telling everybody that I've been very high on the Suns. And you said you're looking at maybe a Sixers Utah Jazz final. I am telling you right now. This is a JD Oracle moment. I want to hear it. The JD Oracle moment is if the Suns take game 1 and game 2, you can cancel Christmas. They will be in the finals because they will take out the king. And if you take out the king, the pawns will fall. So I don't normally bet against LeBron. He's just had too much history being there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But in this case, he's running into one of the greatest minds in basketball in Chris Paul, and Booker can shoot it up, man. He's hold on. Chris Paul is grabbing his shoulder for the Suns and is down on the ground. Are you serious? Well,
as soon as you started talking about it, it was the kiss of death. But hey, I'm a big DeAndre Ayton guy. I'm a University of Arizona Wildcat. If you look behind me, I have my Nick Foles jersey. I'm a graduate from the University of Arizona. So I know DeAndre Ayton. The dude's a beast. He's the truth. He's a great big man that can shoot and play great defense. So I'm glad to see him, accelerating his career right here. But Chris Paul's been unreal, right?
He has been. And we forget about Booker. Chris Paul's been so good. We forgot about Booker. And Miles and Mikal Bridges and all those guys. And this is like terrible. Like, I mean, listen, Tim Little, I'm so sad about this, man. Like, I've been big at Chris Paul up all year. I even thought he should be in MVP conversations because he's taking the Suns from a team that was they would be all right, but they're now a problem. If
they're a problem.
So listen, I'm upset about that. The Knicks and the Hawks, I'm waiting to see what the Knicks are gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm interested in the Jazz versus Grizzly game at 9:30 tonight. I might stay up to watch it. I want to see what Ja can do. So let's just throw this out there. Let's say Ja goes out and has a great game and they knock off the Jazz in game 1. What do we say about Ja Morant at this point?
Well, he's the truth. I mean, like the dude is super athletic. He finds everybody in every little hallway of giving the rock to everybody. He's incredible. And then he just soars through the air, 40-inch vertical leap, just like no problem. Like now talk about a problem. He is a problem. Like he is unreal. His talent is amazing. Should have probably been number 1 pick. Leave it as it will because he played over for Murray State. Just let it be. But overall, the dude is unreal. And and if they do knock off the Jazz, then so be it. it's going to be pretty wacky. That's even more of a better chance for the Sixers to come out of this whole thing at the end of the day. I mean, what else do you want?
I'm saying I think it's stacking up to be a really weird year. I think a lot of the teams that were at the top that were slotted at the top are not going to end up where we thought they would. It's just a weird year, and a lot of teams. There's more continuity this year. I said this on another pod of another NBA pod that I was on. I said this is the first year that I'm actually excited to see the NBA playoffs, and not because the Sixers are good, but just there's more continuity in the league. There's not just LeBron running through the NBA, aimlessly, not even really trying, just getting through everybody. So it would be very interesting to see how this is going to pan out for everybody. Like I said, I pray and hope that Chris Paul is all right. If he does take out King James, it'll be the first time in
banana boat.
Years. It'll be the first time in 14 years that LeBron hasn't been in the finals or something. Except for the year they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, right. So, for the record, this is an IPA. We're enjoying the ride right now. We're having a good time, Steve. Thank you.
Hey man, I don't know much about IPAs, but everybody drinks them. I'm not a drink. I don't drink.
If you want a little giddy up, you want a little kick in your step, that's the way to go.
Do they have non-alcoholic IPAs?
That I'm not sure of. That's a next level question that I don't think I can answer. I'll be honest with you. But either way, that's for you to now find out.
I was gonna see if anybody had any questions or anybody wanted to put anything out there in the world that's on the chat or that's in the live feed right now. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to kind of get your last thoughts out. I'm just gonna keep checking the score here to check and see if we can check on this Lakers Suns. It's been stopped at 9:04, so I'm assuming that Chris Paul is still down. Prayers go out to him. I hate seeing that, man. It seems like every time he has an opportunity to win something, he gets hurt. Like when he was with Houston, they had a chance to take out the Warriors.
Yeah.
He gets hurt, and that kind of stopped. And I hope that doesn't happen this time for him, man, because
honestly though, he's been unbelievable for them. Pretty much MVP status, if you will, for Chris Paul, which you don't even think about much often for the most part. I'm curious to see. I'm really intrigued about the Knicks. Honestly, I want to see what they can really do. I know Thibodeau has these guys playing the right way, and I know Randall's been playing out of his mind right now. So we'll see what happens with them. That's the game I'm kind of looking towards because I feel like the Knicks should take that series for the most part, but I just want to see how they deal with that series. Yeah.
So it looks like they're playing again. He's I don't know if he's out though. It doesn't say I haven't got an a Woj bomb yet. So I'm assuming that Woj hasn't reported him.
Woj is good. We're good.
Yeah, Woj doesn't say anything that we might be good. He might just have a sprain, a bruise or something. But back to your thought about the Knicks. The Knicks being good again is really good for basketball. Like as far as being an East Coast kid, I'm from South Carolina. So I am
nice.
I've always been like a East Coast guy. I love like more teams. I've always liked the Sixers, but I've just always had a kind of a mindset for the East Coast game, and I grew up with like John Starks and the Knicks. Patrick Ewing.
Oh, sure, yeah, Allen Houston, Ron Harper.
Harper, those guys. And the crazy thing about Ron Harper is Harper played for the Knicks and he played for the Bulls, which was actually a double entendre if you kind of want to speak. But,
yes, okay.
But yeah,
I wanted to throw a little Charles Smith for you over there, but that's
So you got Walt Frazier, all those guys that were the Knicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
The Knicks used to be a very prolific. For those of you guys who are younger watching this, the Knicks used to be really good. Like they were always in it at the end of the year, even going back to the years with Latrell Sprewell and all that stuff. So I look forward to seeing the Knicks come back in the next couple of years. They got a really young team. A lot of the ceiling is really high for a lot of these guys. RJ Barrett definitely having a very high ceiling.
Oh yeah. He's been real nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to see what they do. And they have a non-alcoholic.
Yeah, there you go. My man Adam's checking in for you. Real strong. Nice.
Good job. Thanks, Adam.
Enjoy the ride, my friend. Enjoy the ride.
I appreciate it, man. I might try one of those one day. One of these days.
Exactly.
Yeah, but just to finish up with the New York stuff, man, like, yeah, it's great for basketball. Madison Square Garden is the mecca of basketball. It has been for a very long time. So I'm glad that there is good basketball being played in New York again. And I hope we continue to beat them, even if they do get good. Maybe it'll start bringing those old, rivalries back where, Knicks and Sixers, Knicks and Bulls, Knicks and all these other teams. Because the best thing that we can do for our division is to make the East big again. Like that's definitely. The East needs to be a powerhouse again. It'll be great. So that way you get to see the teams you're going to be playing against and then you're ready for the Western Conference. Because so many times the Eastern Conference, they ride through the Eastern Conference and get to the Western Conference, and we hit a buzzsaw. So yeah, so that's where I'm at with it, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Wouldn't it be great if we like took out the Knicks and then Brooklyn and then went on through? I think that'd be a great story. We just take the train back and forth, beating the crap out of them, going back and forth. I think that'd be fun.
It'd be great, man. Wouldn't it be amazing? And then on top of it, for us, like it's easier to go to games, even if you go to an away game.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be
you know
awesome.
what I'm saying? Especially not having to go out down to Miami or Milwaukee. I'm not going to Milwaukee. Are you going to Milwaukee?
Not either. No, I wish I would. I mean, I'm in lockdown with the wife and kids over here. Maybe I can sneak out of the house a little bit to go up to New York a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, man, I hear that. It took the Wizards' best punch and horrible officials to keep it close. So thank the Sixers in 4. Man, Mr. Seaway Science, I not only do I agree with you, but I think not only this, I think this trap talking from Bradley Beal has lit a fire under Joel Embiid. You have definitely got Troll Embiid going, and he is going to be. He might even write some cryptic tweets tonight because he's been so good all year, and like finally somebody start up his trash talk again. So I'm excited.
I'll be honest with you. I saw a video on Twitter. It was like the old video from the Orlando Magic when we picked Joel Embiid and they're all applauding, going crazy. Like, yes, they took Joel Embiid. Oh man, it was so funny because the dude's an absolute monster. I mean, he's unreal. And he has that nice little jumper. Like, what can't he do at the end of the day? He's just outrageous. Like, honestly, and if you foul him, like Shaq was never this good at the line. The dude's like crazy good from the line. Like, how do you stop him?
I don't know if you do, but you remember how they were talking all this trash about, Joker being the MVP? And, we've been hearing that for weeks. Well, yes. Joker didn't stop them Trailblazers last night.
No, he did not.
I didn't see Joker all on the TV MVP, all them chants. I didn't hear that last night.
No, so that got real quiet real fast.
Exactly. So I'm thinking the MVP, and if you're looking at the the longevity, him playing the entire year, okay, cool. But Joel Embiid just had 30 points, and he did it quietly. He did it. He did it so quiet. At one point, he hit shots 3 possessions in a row, to kind of like give us some space. So, man, I'm hoping that if people are voting for MVP, I hope they put Joel in it. I said that he probably wouldn't get it just because the people were talking so much about Joker, and I know this is a regular season, thing, but it's gotta matter what you do in the postseason too, man. Like we do this every year with Greek Freak. We give it to him, and he chokes in the playoffs. The one guy's name is Playoff P, and he has done nothing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like Embiid has carried the team. He give or take, you don't care about the games as much as he played, but guess what? Guy's still averaging like 30 points, and they're still the first seed. I find that as like load management, like. Yeah, Jokic has been nasty. He had a great year, and then Steph Curry just like kind of went off because we know how good he is and everything. But you know what? He's still the 1 seed, and everything is still great. I cannot. We should honestly take Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. Why not?
Why not? That'll be a great year. It'll be the best year that I've ever been. And I just moved here, so I've only been here for 2 years. So it'd be great for my life to be moving here and to get to the Defensive Player of the Year and the Offensive Player of the Year or MVP. That'll be great. But yeah, man, I've had fun doing it. If no, I don't think anybody else has anything to say, man. So if you're ready to wrap it up, we can do it.
No, man, it was an awesome time. It's a good way to start off the postseason. 1-0. Let's take care of business. And thanks for having me on, JD. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I do. I appreciate having you, and I'm glad you came on. For the rest of the Heat Ratio guys, man, you missed something good, so I'll make sure I put that in the group chat. Whenever you guys get a chance, maybe next couple game, maybe game 2, we'll have a bigger panel just to kind of hit some of the good points about the game. Hopefully we'll be saying we're up 2, getting ready to go to Washington to wrap this thing up, and we'll be getting some well-deserved rest so we can watch around the league and laugh.
Absolutely, man. Let's just coast through here. Let's dominate like the team that's supposed to be, and let's take care of business.
For sure, man. Until next time, deuces.
Peace.